Hey everyone, it's Simon from Higher Plane Games, hope you're well. Welcome to Hexoscope, a new game that's come out on Steam. It's a puzzle brain exploder, and thank you for the developer for sending it across to me. Hope it's recording well, because I'm having to use a desktop recorder because none of my recording software was able to capture any of it because it drops to 1 frame a second. I'm not sure why. Developer, could you sort that out, please? That'd be great. Now I'm going to pick on Hexoscope slightly because what its greatest asset in many ways is also its greatest weakness, and it's, I think, a symptom of the roguelike genre as I see it, and randomly generated levels, and why sometimes randomly generated isn't always the best way to go all of the time. So without further ado, I'm going to dive into the actual game itself, which is based around the chaos theory, and I'm going to explain how it works before I start doing my thesis on why sometimes randomly generated levels can be really frustrating. So I have a source that's available over here and a receiver that's available over here, and what I need to be able to do is connect the two together, and I do that by basically moving these hexagons around. Anything that's pink is powered by the source and is effectively part of my chain that's trying to get across to that receiver that's over there. Anything that's light blue is a hexagon that I can completely move around to either in part of the pink chain or just to switch it around between the blues. Anything that's dark blue I can't touch yet. The briefing side on the left, this little panel here, will tell me how many times I need to connect the source to the receiver, because on other layouts of the world you may have to do 2 or 3, so it gets more infinitely tricky. So the crux and its best strength and its best and its biggest weakness is that all of these pieces in here are completely randomly generated. Now the developer says that every single level will always be solvable because of the pieces that are going in. It's just the situation of where they are is completely randomly generated. And so what that means is that as I'm moving like these kind of things around, can you see that like some things get powered up, some things don't, and it gives me access to different hexagons as I go through. So if I go for that to there, say, that's helpful. I'm going to go from that to there because that will help me move on up. Then I'm going to go that to there because that again moves me up. I can then move this one across to here, and then I think I'm going to hit a snag, and it's the same snag that I've had for about 4 or 5 different goes of this level, and instead of stopping recording I'm going to sit and explain why I find that randomly generated levels don't always serve your game very well. Now, part of the infinite structure of Hexoscope is that you can go across, but sometimes you might need, and I need, this piece up here essentially for the play that I'm going for. I've just spotted that I don't, but I'm trying to make a point here, so go with it. So what I'd have to do is make a path to go out and go things wrong. But the problem with that is that, oh thanks Dean, 1 new item in my inventory, is that sometimes the pieces that you need are so far out of the way that you're going to come across the most difficult scenario possible for level 1, and you could get that about 6 or 7 times in a row and just be like, this game is fucking awful, it's so hard, my brain. I'm just going to go like that and solve that one. And what I found is that some levels, a bit like that one, I needed to move a few things and I was done, and I could move on and I can try a different map, because if I went into the Chaos one again, that would be a completely different set of tiles for me to play with. Some stuff is really, really easy, some stuff is mega hard, and if I go back to, let me dive into barriers, which is where they start introducing like frozen ones. You can see these ones with the black hexagon little shape inside. I can't rotate any of those around, so they're frozen in time, so I can only move the stuff around it. What this does is mean that you could in theory have a really, really roller coaster difficulty level, because you're not actually having an increase in difficulty, it's just luck of the draw. And I suppose a little bit of me mourns inside that this is just map and tile layouts and not necessarily intricate level design. It's very clever what the person has done, but it has enough left to some frustrations because I've recorded this 5 or 6 times and I'm sure the same will happen here, is that I'm going to be absolutely stuck as fuck trying to get round this level because I'm trying to see of what I can actually move and what I can't. So that pushes me out one, but I don't necessarily want to go there yet. Is the game have I found a completely unsolvable one? Ooh. So if I go like that. No, okay, right, so it looks like I'm going to have to go down here. But what I might have to do is go like that, to then bring that into play, and then switch that back. And that's what I mean by things like things being solvable, and you're really going to have to sit and plan out your routes so far in advance that you just need like a little Mensa degree. Because yeah, in that case, then I'm sure almost everything will be solvable. There we go, so that can then move to there, which is buggered because that can't be moved, so I can't, that's no good to me. Is that? Okay. But that's not. Yeah, actually that completely ruins it. I can't get anywhere from that. So can you see, like... Oh, there you go. No, well no, because once again I can't do anything. Now I'm sure the solution is quite clear for many other people to see, but sadly for me, it's really not. And so this is my problem with procedurally generated levels or random level design, that kind of thing. So yeah, I can really go back in and I can change chaos and I can try say something else. So this is great. This has more open, although it's got lots and lots of zigzags everywhere. And you can kind of see with this one at the moment, I've got a couple of ways that I could potentially go. There. I say that was going surprisingly well for a second. Right. So I now have nothing. Goes in from that side, so I'm going to move that one around to there because it could be that I've missed something clearly vital. Does that work? Is that movable? That is movable, okay. But do I have the piece that moves? And so this is what I mean by like proper cerebral planning and like plan of action, and understanding that what you may have just done beforehand that helps so very much. Okay, I think we might have got this, you know. He says. No, I haven't, have I? Yes, I have. There we go. Hurrah! I now don't feel quite so frigging shit. But when it works, Hexoscope, I actually find very, very entertaining. But I just want that to be just a general tirade on why sometimes procedurally generated or randomly generated levels need sometimes a little bit more framing, because you're going to struggle to understand the game unless you really go in headstrong and sit and work at it. And I felt like Hexoscope would benefit from allowing people to have a bit of a helping hand at the beginning and having some set levels in there before then letting you loose on the randomly generated stuff. So that's it for this specific quick look. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment and subscribe, all of that bollocks, which you all find on YouTube every single day. But it does, I generally appreciate it. I know I take this, but I do. So everyone take care, and I look forward to seeing you in another video here on High Plane Games. Bye for now.